Hi, I'm Kevin, and I'm living through the federal occupation in Minnesota. Our guest today is a local rapid responder. While on call, her car was surrounded by ICE agents in Oakdale, Minnesota. She had her car vandalized with two Trump 2028 stickers. Later that night, agents doxed her by sharing her home address. Long story short, the police won't file any charges. Please welcome back friend of the show, Kelsey the Street Medic. This is Occupation Breakdown. Kelsey, welcome back. I appreciate you coming back on here today. I think we both had a really great conversation last time. We got cut off there because it was, like 2 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
We got cut off there. You obviously had an additional interaction with ICE that you kind of wanted to talk about. I'll just let you take the floor there. And if you want to kind of give us an intro to it before we kind of pull up any videos or anything like that, or would you like to go with the video first, or what do you feel like?
Yeah, I'll share a little bit about the context behind this. So we first met at a noise protest outside of the Marriott hotels in Woodbury. And ever since that night and just seeing how many ICE agents were present, walking back to the hotels from their dinner, seeing how many out of state vehicles were there, whenever I was in the Woodbury area, I'd always keep an eye out there to see if I, noticed any out of state suspicious plates pulling out of that area that I could do a plate check on for patrol. So there had been several times over the course of the following weeks where I would see ICE agents coming and going from that intersection. And that's, I mean, for the people who don't know Woodbury, that's a really busy intersection where those hotels are right off the highway. And so it's hard to miss when there are so many ICE agents staying there. So kind of fast forward to mid-February after Tom Holman replaced Greg Bovino and said that he was going to start drawing down and ending the metro surge, remote or having ICE agents leave. So I happened to be in the Woodbury area uh, on it was Friday the 13th of February. And there was in our Woodbury Patrol group, there was a message that went out of like, hey, if anybody has any time to swing through the Marriott lots and just see if there are fewer suspicious vehicles or known ICE vehicles than before, because that gives us patrollers it kind of like an idea of what to watch out for in our community if there really is this substantial decrease in the number of ICE agents. I happen to go to a bank that's in like the same parking lot as those hotels, so it kind of gives me like a little diversion, like I'm here because I'm going to my bank. And when I was leaving, I decided to just drive through. Just I didn't have any plans to like stop or, confront anybody. I just thought I would drive through the aisles of the lot on my way out. And so I have dash cam footage of what happened next. And the video starts with me driving down an aisle of a parking lot. A man with a couple of bags and his dog were crossing. So I slowed down and waited for him. And I noticed right to my left, there were two white, big SUVs. There were some people in both of them that were talking to each other. I think maybe a couple of people out of the vehicles. And I noticed one of them had a disability placard, which kind of raised flags for me. And so I was like, oh, it's probably ICE right there. Um, so the man finished crossing in front of me. I pulled through the aisle, kind of pulled around back to an empty part of the lot where I could see the cars, but I wasn't parked by anybody else. I was pretty far away. And I started, writing down the license plates. And then you can see on my dash cam footage, one of the SUVs just backs up right to the passenger side of my car and stops. And so I don't know if you want to take that, pull it up and kind of see.
The dash cam.
Yeah. So you can, after they pull up next to me, you can't see anything that's going on, but you can hear the audio fairly clearly. And what would work best, just to kind of talk about what it was like or watch it firsthand?
I'm just gonna start it over for the jazzy music. I like it. Oh shit.
You guys leaving yet?
Hey, this is not public. You get out.
You guys going home? Hey, I was just using the bank, and I'm wondering what's going on over here.
Not public. You need to get out. It's rented by federal employees here. You can do anything you want from public, right? This is not public land. Get out.
Do you
This is occupied by the government right now.
do you work here?
This is occupied by the government right now.
Do you
This is occupied by the government right now. This is not public right now. Okay, so you need to leave. This is not owned by the fucking.
Why do you have a disability card?
Don't worry about it. I'm fucking retarded. Are you?
Why do you use that word? That's
Because
so.
you're annoying. You guys don't understand how annoying you guys are.
Why don't you leave?
Why would I leave? I'm getting paid very well to be here.
No, because no, I'm just wondering because the word is that you guys are leaving. So are you part of the DRADA? What's that? What? What? I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Who said we're leaving?
Your boss. Hi.
We're still here, right?
What's up?
Obviously, we're still here.
Why did you call me a bitch? I'm a medical provider. I chart in between visits. What's wrong with you?
We're annoyed of you guys. Like, you guys are so annoying.
I live here.
So
Where do
just
you
a
live? Where are
second.
you from?
You live in the hotel.
So what happened there? I don't know if you heard me say like, "Hi." A woman got out of the back of the car and came up to my passenger window
And called you a
and took my
bitch.
picture and called me a bitch.
Shit.
And did you catch when they said this is occupied by the federal government right now?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
just funny to hear right now, you know?
I laughed at that. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So this private property is being occupied by the federal government, so you're no longer allowed to be
Yes.
here. And it's like, okay, so
Yes.
they're not even the property owners. So they're actually
Right.
acting on the behalf of property owners and kicking
Mhm.
people off their property.
Mhm.
Get fucked. Get fucked. Like,
Di-
holy shit.
Yeah.
So took picture, called you bitch. My God.
And this was like a day or two after. It was the same week. It wasn't long after Tom Homan had been like, we're gonna go back to, lower levels of ICE agents, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I asked them that. And you hear them, they're like, why would we leave? Why are we leaving? It's like, this
Because
is
we're
the
getting, he
attitude of
said,
these people.
we're getting
Yeah,
paid very well
they're
to
getting
be
paid very
here, is
well.
the quote I got.
Mhm.
Well, yeah. Do you want to keep going, or you got anything else?
Yeah, keep going.
All right.
No, I don't live in the fucking hotel.
This is not public property.
Where are you from?
Why does it matter?
Because this is my community.
Okay.
You're right, I don't. What's your name? What's your name? You're a medic? Yeah, why are you a medic for? Why are you so aggressive to me right now?
Annoying, dude.
Why are you so aggressive to me?
You're annoying. You guys are fucking whispers all
Why
day.
do you take a picture? I saw you.
I was looking with binoculars because because our community is wondering.
You don't care about your community because you fucking protect the child molesters.
Child molesters?
You guys do.
How many child molesters have you picked up since you've been here?
Over 100.
Good for you.
Yes.
Good.
I do an amazing job.
When your whistle's blowing them, protecting those people, like when this idiotic state releases them, it's disgraceful.
If you're a mother and if you are, you should care about the kids, about all the child molesters. We picked up a guy who's 99. They got 99 in jail and he's walking around. Why don't you care about that? He murdered a child.
Do you know what she was referring to there? I've listened to that over and over, and I don't understand what she means.
We picked up
They
a
had
guy who
90
had 99 and is walking around. I have no idea. I'm assuming it's something that maybe he was like charged with, I don't know, like 99 counts or got 99 years or something. and
Yeah,
walking
that's why I
around.
was like, it's got to be something like that. So I had 99 walking free. And okay, and so this. Oh my God. Okay, so I just had this thought. And if you're like,
Yeah.
okay, so it took I don't know, 3,000 of us to catch over 100 child molesters. Okay. If you go to Whipple, how many people a day are being released? You're looking like 10 to 20 people a day are being released. And I would say unless they're and this is where it gets debatable. So unless there's someone who is like, either an agitator or someone who is picked up because they were just like following or something like that. Outside of that, we're talking completely wrongful detention, even though I also agree that those ones are wrongful. But if we're talking about like someone who is suspected as an immigrant or something like that, who just wrongfully gets picked up and gets released, we're talking like 10 to 20 people a day for the past like 2 months or something. And they caught like 100 child molesters. So what the fuck about all those other people in their lives? And,
Right.
I don't know. That's where and that doesn't even count the ones. So the 10 to 20 being released are the 10 to 20 being released out of Whipple, not the ones that have been flown out already to
Yes,
Texas
right.
and that have also been flown to East Montana or who knows, maybe even shot out of the country,
Right. Yeah. Did you catch where the woman was? I think I had said, like, I'm a medical provider. And then, like, a little bit later, she said, well, I'm a medic.
I'm a medic.
And
Yeah.
and then she said, I do an amazing job. And the impression that I got with them, just like all three of them just yelling at me, was like they were trying to prove themselves to me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I just want you to go. Like, I don't care. They could be like the most honorable people who have not a shit thing to do with any of the ICE activity that like has been so violent and awful. And they could just be like, we're here to try and do the right thing. I don't care. Get the fuck out. We still don't want you here. But that they were just like, so, I'm from the US. I get paid a lot to be here. But like, okay, what are you trying to prove to me? It was surreal.
I think what happened is that the shame is finally getting to them and that they're trying to prove that they're not. I think they actually are struggling probably with themselves, that they actually feel bad and they're
Yeah.
like, no, fuck you. And they're probably trying to like
Right.
fight with themselves more than anything to like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you got any more comments before we?
Yeah, go ahead.
Child. And what do you have to say about that? What do you have to say about that? What do you have to say about that? I take care of this guy.
You guys just overpick your illegals. No one, dude. When they cross the country, they committed a crime.
Why do you?
I thought you.
Okay. It is not a criminal offense to cross the border into the country. It's basically like getting like a parking ticket. It's a civil.
Like a civil
Yeah,
offense.
it's a civil offense. So I would say that's also not a criminal offense.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, the people doing this have no idea what they're even.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But anyways,
they don't have like the accurate information to go off of.
yeah.
I don't know. I think this is something that is so obvious to all of us here in Minnesota, but I don't think a lot of people know this, is how much stalking ICE agents have done. Like, if you have a legitimate reason to arrest someone or detain them or deport them, then get your fucking warrant
And just
and
do it.
go pick up the person and do it. There is a community near where my kid goes to school that it's going on 2.5 months, if not longer, where every so often they see, I think maybe we talked about this, where they're like, oh, there's ICE agents in this community. They're driving by, they're parking outside their home. And that was my first interaction with ICE, was like showing up and pulling behind them, and someone was getting out of their vehicle. And I just sat in my car and they saw me and got back in and drove off going like 50 in a residential neighborhood that was covered in ice and snow, just where there's like kids and families who live there. It was so unsafe. And it's like, if you have a reason to target this person, like, do it. Like, the waste of resources of stalking people and sitting outside of homes and terrorizing them is just unbelievable.
I'm trying to think of who was the one who put out the article. Anyways, I could think about it later. But basically, there is someone who is able to get like insiders from ICE, and we're talking like former, like longer time ICE agents. People have been established in it, not recent recruits. Basically, is what I'm saying. And they're talking about the conditions working there, and specifically working with the new recruits, and basically these people are like whistleblowing, basically, hey, the training is absolutely inadequate, number one, but they're like, these people are lawless. They're like drinking flasks on stakeouts, like they're partying. And one thing that they said is basically, I think as far as the management of the personnel isn't super effective, but basically a lot of it is kind of like the people that are willing to go hard and go out and do this stuff, get rewarded for it. And so a lot of those people just keep going out into the communities and doing their brutality. And and I think there's other people that are probably I think, like, how many of these people are just fucking off, and just like
Yeah.
collecting paychecks and just like probably just sitting around stalking people and doing, just wasting
Yeah.
God knows what, and then they go back at the end of the day and, dick around in their hotel rooms and eat at our hotels and, or at our restaurants and shit. And, it's like, I don't know. I can't imagine how many of those people are not actually doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe like I'd rather have them be wasting their time than the ones ravaging our
Yeah,
community,
by
I
all
guess. But
means.
I'd also
Yeah.
rather not pay for either of them,
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Oh my God. But anyways, do you got anything else, or?
She said, if you're a mother, you should care about the children. So she could see my child's car seat in the back of my car,
Yeah.
and that,
Yeah.
like, I didn't really respond to that to her directly because, I wasn't really in a place mentally where I felt like I could spit things back out at them. If you notice, I'm just asking a lot of questions because, I mean, it's not like there was any sort of like conversation going on. They were just, constantly yelling at me. But I thought that was so, like, she knew from that I had a young child, which makes what they did after this interaction even more like nefarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of creepy.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's continue.
going.
Because you're not having a conversation, you're being aggressive towards me. Why are you telling me to leave? This is my community.
Okay, you see the other car coming?
She took a picture of me. Yeah, because I went to the fucking bank over there and I see you guys all talking and now you're over here? What the fuck?
This is not public property.
This is my community. You don't own this place either. Yeah, my tax dollars are paying for you to stay here. Man, you guys need to fucking leave. Nobody wants you here. You're traitors.
Molester protect us.
They're definitely still here.
And I like bawled, man.
Oh, I don't blame you. That's an awful experience. I'm so sorry about that.
Thank
Do
you.
you want me to
it's
switch to the? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, if
shut
you
up.
want to
Go ahead.
show the cell phone video, no, it's okay. I mean,
You
so
react
this
in the
was weird
meantime while
because
I switch it.
yeah. So the cell phone video is weird because after a minute, like I forgot I had my dash cam on, and after a minute, I was like, wait, why am I not like recording this? They're like, their faces were uncovered. This woman's up at my window, and I was like scared. So in my cell phone video, like I don't even have it up in their face. I did like
Correct.
a little quick sweep of them, but I don't know, like
Yeah.
it was just weird. And I like, I don't know, not clearly when you're being accosted by people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other car that came up on the other side of me, there were two people. There was a man driving and a woman in the passenger seat. And they just like sat there right next to me, didn't roll down the window, didn't do anything. But we hear about observers being boxed in and then being pulled out of their cars. So that's why I was like, nope, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah. No, that was smart of you I saw you like dip out of there. I would have been like, all right, peace.
Like, yeah. But like, why? Why? I wasn't even doing anything. I wasn't, I wasn't obstructing immigration enforcement activities. I was literally just fucking parked in a public parking lot in our community, and they approached me. And so after that, I called the police and made a police report and said, like, this sucks because, I mean, they were clearly ICE agents. We knew that, but there was nothing on their vehicle. There was nothing they were wearing that indicated that they were. So what I should have told the police was, hey, I just got like harassed by people who approached me in this parking lot and I have this video of it, blah, blah, blah. But I started off with saying that it was probably ICE and had like,
Yeah.
they like took the information, they took my videos, they took the screen grabs I got from it. And essentially they were just like, well, we can't do anything about this and you should probably not go to that parking lot anymore. And I'm like, okay, cool. Good plan. And after I left there, when I got to my next destination, I found 2 Trump 2028 stickers stuck to my car.
2 of them?
2 of them. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I thought there was just 1. Oh, Lord.
Yep, 2 of them. And so this woman who was up taking my picture, I think at some point she went around towards the back of my car and got my license plate and then put the stickers on my car. So like the irony of being, of saying like how many child molesters they're picking up and how I'm a pedophile protector or whatever. And like that they put the name of a pedophile, racist, like horrible person on my car was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
See.
The irony. I can send you the pictures.
It's either it's considered vandalism, could be criminal damage, or in some cases civil mischief. So what did the police say about that?
Well, I told them that
you shouldn't have followed them around.
I shouldn't have gone to the parking lot if I knew that they were there.
So that's why. So then it's okay to deface your car.
And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure that, they did it. I don't know what other situation would have had that happen to me. And they were like, well, you have the dash cam video, but you don't have video of the person actually putting it on there. So we can't do anything about it. I think the other thing that is worth mentioning, and it's something that I just kind of struggle with, is like they all 3 of them had accents, like, heavy accents, Latino people. And it's like, that's why at the end I was like, y'all fucking traitors. Like, what's wrong with you?
Going around to people with accents and saying let me see your papers. Why do you don't belong here?
Mm-hmm. Do I remember
Yeah.
correctly that there was a report of like an off-duty ICE officer getting, like being asked to show his papers to ICE or something like that? I know they were
I
doing it
believe
to like the
so.
police in
No,
in the
I'm pretty sure
cities.
you're right. I'm pretty sure you're right. There's a lot of yeah, I mean, definitely there's a lot of police officers for sure. I definitely feel like I do remember hearing about, and I mean, even I think they deported some people as well, some of their own employees. And no, I swear to God. And then there was one person who they hired for IT, the guy, and he was, I don't know if he was a legal citizen or, I don't think he was a citizen per se yet, but he was here legally and he was
Mhm.
here working legally and, had no reason to fear for anything and actually got hired. I believe it was either DHS or ICE or something. We could look it up, but
Yeah.
they hired him. And when he showed up for his first day in the job, they basically like disappeared him.
My
And
God.
yeah, I forgot where they sent him back to, but it's just incredible. All right. Is she the one who walked up or is she just in the car the whole
No.
time?
Yeah, this was the second car that pulled up to me, so they just stayed in the
Okay,
car
at the
and
end there, right before you
yeah.
pulled away. Oh my God. I need to get a dash cam. Jesus.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you do. See, the shitty thing about this is I do have a rear dash cam and I couldn't get that fucker to work. And I kept being like, oh, I got to fix that. I got to figure that out. And then this
Yeah.
happened. And I'm like, I needed that rear dash cam. God damn it.
You gotta love yeah, you gotta love it. That's always my case. And
Right.
like, yeah, anything I needed to fix, it's like too little too
Yeah,
late.
that's exactly what I needed. Yeah. So this is the guy that you hear the majority of the time talking. And so there's, yeah, like another guy
I
behind him
mean,
too.
yeah, we're talking like these tops, he's got to be
Yeah.
like pretty young 30s. If anything, could be in
Hmm.
his 20s. You never know, but I'd say probably like
Right.
30s maybe. Damn. All right, let's see. Um, and then you got two stickers. The stickers, were you able to get them off
Yeah.
okay, or was it okay? So that wasn't like a
Yeah,
issue
the
per
one on the
se,
back was like hardly stuck on there. It just popped right off. That one,
yeah,
because it's like even upside down. Like put it on fucking right. The other one is still pretty stuck on there. I don't know, need to get it off. But part of me is just like I pulled off enough of it so you can't see that it says Trump, but no.
yeah. Well, that's some bullshit. Incredible.
Yeah.
Give me a second here. Let me just take this off here. All right. Well, yeah, honestly, that's a crock of shit. So the police don't care. I mean, at least so no, I mean, one of them, if you still have it on there, that's an issue, so it's not like it just came off.
Hmm.
That sucks. I got a heat gun. You should try to use that.
Mm. Yeah, I'm not too worried. Like it'll be fine. It'll come off. But it's just right. And so it definitely felt like when I got out of my car and saw those on there, I was like, these fucking trolls. Like this is so immature. This is like alpha male incel internet culture, like, oh, this bitch, we're gonna get her and ha ha ha. It's so funny. Something that I told the police, I was worried about them knowing my address because I knew that they got my license plate. We've seen them on videos, like taking pictures of people's license plates and knowing observers' addresses. And so they had said, well, just keep an eye out. And if you have anybody show up at your house that you're unexpecting, give us a call. So fast forward that night, around 7, I'm having dinner with my family. My in-laws are visiting my 2 young children. And we see a car pull up outside of my driveway and just stop there with lights on. We have a really long driveway. We live on a cul-de-sac with only 4 houses. So anything is like, unless they're like going to a neighbor's house, it's suspicious. And we're like, okay, just like kind of looking out the window, watching, and then it seems to drive away. And then another car comes back and stops. And at this point, I'm dialing 911 and talking to a dispatcher, and I see another car come and stop, and another car come and stop, and then a fourth car come. And they're all parked outside on my road with their lights on. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, is this, is this ICE? Why? What the hell? And so the dispatcher's like, yep, we'll send people out there. And at some point, I think to pull up my signal and like look at our community chats, and I see that there is Monarca report posted, like request for observers at my address. And it says the landlord at this address is reporting ICE requesting observers. And the moment I read that, I stopped being scared, first of all. I was like, oh my God, these are the helpers. Like, these are my people. These are the observers in our community. They're here to help. My husband was freaking out. He's like trying to get the camera and like trying to do all this stuff to figure out who's out there. And I like run out. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. They're observers. And I like go up to each car and they're like, are you okay? We're here to, and I was like, it's a false alarm. That this fucked up thing happened with ICE earlier. They must have put out this report on my address. And they were all so sweet. All of them were just like, are you okay? Is there anything you need? We'll check in with you later. And each one of them left. And by the time like the last one was leaving, then 2 Washington County sheriffs were pulling up. In the first one, he gets out and I'm like, hey, I just realized, there was a false report out on my house. These are legal observers. They thought ICE activity was going on. We don't need to do anything. Everything's okay. And he's like, and I said, but like, what do I do about this? Because I was like targeted and this false report was made on my address. And he was like, well, you'll have to take it up with DHS. He says, as he's getting in his car and shutting. And I was like, wait. I was like, what's your name? The fuck? Like, it's just going to be like, ooh, take it up with, and so he like gave me his card and he's like, you can talk to the officer behind me. He's the like liaison for this community. And so the first one takes off. Wow, super helpful. Glad to have like any sort of concern for community member,
Mhm. Yeah.
And so the second guy, I talked to him for quite a bit. He was younger. He seemed a lot more understanding. He kind of heard the whole story, but his response was the same. Like, you can file a report with DHS and with ICE but we can't do anything about it. And I kind of did the same thing I did the night where I met you at the hotel when the police showed up. Like, don't you care about this community? Like, this must be really hard that you can't do anything about it. I asked if he had dealt with any instances like this where ICE were targeting community members or observers in a certain way. And he was like, oh, not out here, not usually. And I don't know, just bullshit. And so like he went on his way and that was that. And it's been a month now. Nothing else has come of it. We were pretty freaked out for a few weeks there of like, is something going to happen? But we realized that it's like, again, we talked about these ICE officers are like, they seem very young and like very immature the way they were talking to me. And so like, they're probably sitting in their hotel room, yucking it up about how they sent these observers, they're probably in our signal chats and like watching it go down or whatever. And it's just like, okay, like got trolled by the federal government. That's what our tax money is going towards. Yeah. Just like unbelievable. Unbelievable. And at the same time, like that is nothing compared to what they've been doing to vulnerable communities in Minnesota. So like then not even a blip, like, yeah, we were scared and had this interaction, but the shit that they have been doing to people in our community are why I turned around that happened on a Friday. I turned around on Monday and I was back out patrolling, observing. It's like, I'm not scared of this shit. Like, come at me. This is my community. These are our cities. These are our neighbors. This is our state. And do you come in here with this shitty attitude thinking like you run the place? No. And that's how we've gotten as far as we have in Minnesota.
Yeah. I'm just glad. Obviously in all the interactions I've had with you, I know you're a very courageous and strong person. So I'm very grateful that you're in our community out there being able
Mm,
to, look out for people. So thank you for that, given, obviously the clear threats and, intimidation you've received. And obviously, if you weren't, you're a woman still. So there's that level of, you're white, but it's a little different. But obviously imagine if you were a person of color, or
mhm, mhm.
maybe you're a naturalized citizen or something, or
Mm,
you're here 100% legally, and they start pulling shit like that. I would say
yeah,
that would be pure intimidation.
totally.
And given the fact that we have no, they oh, what is it, they've waived, what's it called, habeas corpus. So
Mhm.
basically, yeah, I mean, like, they don't have to justify it, so they could just pick up anybody and then sweep you wherever they want. Maybe throw you in Whipple for a little while. I mean, some of these people that are getting released, it's like, oh, I've been in there for 30 days. Wait, what?
It's like,
30 days
what? You were
there?
there in that building? Yeah.
Well,
What?
and I've heard other people say, well, they don't have medical staff, they don't have any of this stuff, and oh, because this isn't a detention center, so it's just like a holding. But there's
Yeah,
people that
yeah,
are
but to
are
hold
being
people there
held.
that long.
Yeah. So that's what really concerns me. And then, I want to do an episode on that, and
Yeah.
maybe talk with like Haven or some of those people. But it's just
Mhm.
like, what are the true like consequences that can happen? Because I could write down a list of the things that I could imagine that could happen. There's about 1,000 more things that have popped up of just what
Right.
what could possibly happen in your life, that if you walked away today and were just like taken away randomly for a month or for however long, wait, a week, a couple days even, like, and I've heard reports of, I need to follow up on this, but someone was saying, like, I think it was like, what town was it? I don't know. Anyway, so up north, I believe there are some people saying that, oh, there are some farms that people found with like abandoned, and
Yeah,
there was just like
I heard
dead
that too.
animals.
Dead
A
livestock everywhere.
Brainerd, I believe it was. I was trying to message people about it. They were like, yeah, there's some sensitivities there, so I never really got, into it. And obviously, I'm not driving up to Brainerd anytime soon. So,
Yeah.
um, without like a actual lead or something, But good Lord, yeah. So what is it? How many pets are just like dead in a house somewhere, or children, or whatever?
Mhm.
I would hope not have perished, but God knows what has happened. But okay, so when you look at the, like the internment of the Japanese, one of the big problems that happened was that, number one, there's people that just left, and then people just stole their property. Um, there's people that had like businesses and stuff like that, and they handed it over to people that they trusted. Well, those people that they trusted started running those businesses, and then it's been a few years. By the time they come back, they're like, well, fuck you, this is my business now.
Mhm.
And then they just like, hey, sorry, this is our shit now. And you, as the recently interned, Japanese American, can basically fuck off.
Yeah.
So imagine what happens to all these people. So, hey, your car gets
Yeah.
just left running in the middle of the street. I hope nobody stole it.
Yeah. Hope
Obviously
your
there's
kids
like
weren't left in.
Leo's toe, and yeah,
Yeah.
like some kids take it or some shit, going to joyride or God knows what. Your house. hopefully nobody went and stole anything or broke in knowing that you're gone, especially if someone knows that you've been taken to. If they witness that at your house, people are going to start going, I don't know. That's, to me,
It's like all the implications of all of that is just mind blowing
yeah.
to think about all the
Yeah.
effects of this.
And I mean, and largely, I would say who knows, there's a chance any of us can get just like swept up and they
Yeah.
could do whatever. In some, it could happen. But generally, it's not like you're as much worried about that. I would be worried more about like in Boxed In or, things like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I had the advantage that it wasn't a actual operation where they were trying to detain someone, that I
Yeah.
was interacting with them. It's like, what are you gonna do to me here?
You found them at home
And
base.
honestly, like the answer could be anything, that could have ended in a really terrible way.
Correct.
And the way I see it is like I am white and I hold a lot of privilege in the color of my skin and being able to move about the community without the worries and fears that my neighbors who are not white have to deal with every day, even before ICE was here. And so like
Hmm.
in recognizing that privilege, I recognize also where I can stand up, for what's right, where I can put my body in the way. And I think about like, okay, well, that was only 5 minutes with them, but that was 5 minutes they weren't going after someone, that like I think about the people who are out there following ICE vehicles and you see the videos of them stopping and coming back and being like, stop following me, and they're all pissy about it. And it's like, good, distract them, like keep them from going and staking out this house for the 6th week in a row, not doing jack shit, but terrorizing people. So that's kind of what it felt like. Mentioned I have young children, so definitely went through the process of thinking about, like, okay, that happened. It got kind of real for a second there. And then coming to or like knowing my address, knowing that my kids were affected by that. Like that fucking
Hmm.
sucks.
Yep.
And so, just trying to think of like what, I don't know. I guess like if kids in our community are old enough to be like to watch their parents get ripped away and flown out of the country for months on end or forever, then my kids are like old enough to understand or to hear,
Yeah.
and try to understand what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
My older son, the day after that happened, was like, Mom, were you scared? I was like, yeah, I was. Were you? He's like, yeah, a little bit. And I was like, they did that because they were trying to bully us and they were trying to make us
Correct.
feel afraid in our own
Correct.
home and in our community. And I was like, it's kind of like Home Alone. Like, what did Kevin do when these burglars were trying to get into his house? Did he like run away and was scared? And it's like, no, he tried to call the cops twice and they didn't believe him. And then, he like took matters in his own hand because it was his house. And I was like, this is our house and we're not going to be made to feel scared here. So he kind of like that. He was like, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. We gotta stand up where we can. Yeah, and yeah, obviously a lot of other people, it's not the case that they have the ability to do that as freely. So thank
Right.
you for doing what you do. But
Yeah, that's okay.
yeah, I'm just trying to think here. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I haven't had any direct confrontations other than being at Whipple.
Hmm.
You know, but I did have a situation that I think it was the week after Renee died. Someone had called me, basically like an owner of a daycare in another town, and had no connection to any rapid response, anything like that. So I was like trying to figure out how to connect them. And so they had like told me like one day, they're like, hey, they've just been trolling our parking lot and it's like an hourly daycare. So it was like one where
Mhm.
people that work hourly jobs or shift work
Mhm.
or things like that. So, potentially immigrants or, um, m- whatever. People that are, yeah, I think they're open like later, even like 10 p.m., stuff like that. So they're open in the evening and later.
Mhm.
So it's definitely somewhere that is going to be serving the immigrant community heavily.
Yeah.
So anyways, so they had it was like a strip mall there, and then there's other like other things there, like a gym and restaurants, things like that, gas stations, stuff like that. And so basically she she told me this person was like sitting outside her door waiting out there for a while. Finally a parent told them to leave, but they've been sitting outside stalking the whole general park there basically for a while. And so the next day they called me and it was around lunchtime or something like that, mid-morning, and basically was like, "Hey, they're here right now. They just arrested someone right outside of our playground."
Oh
Um
my.
and was like, I don't know what the fuck to do." So I was trying to connect them to their area, and it was basically like, waiting for someone to vet me or, something that's like, "Oh my God, this
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
this isn't good. This isn't good." So I was like, at some point I was just talking to my wife and she was like, "Just go." So
Mm.
it was kind of far away. So I just got in my car and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna go, but it's gonna be a while." So I just start driving there, and then it's about a half hour or something. I show up and I drive around the whole building, and I'm like, "I don't see anything." So I call her. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "I don't see anything. Are they here? What am I looking for?" And she's like, "Oh no, they were just here. I just kicked them away from the door." I'm like, "What?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Yeah, there's a person in flannel." And I look over and I see this person walking away, two people walking away, and they split up. One of them goes to like one car, and then one of them walks over. There's like a gym there. I'll just say it was Anytime. And so obviously Anytime's a national chain, so you know,
Right.
very likely that they could easily have a membership.
Mm.
And so they just walk into the Anytime, and then I sat there just staking out for a while. And then finally, I get a message from the group that I was waiting to get vetted in, being like, "Hey, why would you like to join the group?" And I'm like, "Please call me now." you
Yeah.
know? And
Like
so
immediately
they
I
get a
need
hold,
this.
yeah, I'm like, "Yeah, this is emergency, call me right now," like, right now. So they got a hold of me, and literally 5 minutes, they had multiple people there, uh,
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
and I was able to warm transfer that, and then, "Okay, sorry, I gotta get out of here," like, I got
Yeah.
shit I gotta do. And I'm far away, and you guys are helping out, so appreciate it, but, yeah, I didn't see anything, but basically it was the I wonder if I have it on my phone. I'll put it up. I'll send it in the where's my phone?
Yeah.
I wanna post this because basically, yeah, so it was the person, it was like a grandmother, I would assume like a grandmother or something of one of the people that was being dropped off. So they dropped the kid off and then arrested the grandma. And then she's like, "Yeah, here it is." She's like, "There's a car that we don't know what to do with." So there's that, it's just like, what the fuck, so back that was before I knew about I think I found out about Leo's towing and stuff because of that, but that's a shitty situation. And I'm glad I was able to get them in contact, but I definitely
Mhm.
was not feeling good about it because, it was one of those times where it was my first time actually really.
Yeah.
There's so many times that I like responded to something and then you show up and it's nothing,
And there's
so
nothing there. Yeah.
yeah,
The first time you
I would
actually
say
there was like an active.
so that was the first time actually something was actively going on, and I don't I think I had gone to an observer training, maybe, I believe so. Maybe I even did like a day later or something, so I don't even know if I did, but it was I think I maybe did by then. No, I probably did. I think I did by then. So I kinda, like, knew what to do, but it was like,
Yeah.
I've never actually done this, and if
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here by myself, I'm like, "Holy shit, that's I don't know, like, this is really
Yeah.
intimidating," you know?
Totally.
So honestly, it's like besides like me filming, yeah, I have a whistle.
Mhm.
That's about all I know what to do, you know.
Yeah.
So obviously I took
Yeah,
the
you
training
guys are
and
so
stuff, and I know like what
yeah,
to look for, and you know, blah blah blah, things like that.
and
But
what
holy
to do.
cow, is like,
But yeah, when it's your first experience, you're just like, "What is this like, this is really happening. Okay, I guess I'm on it." And I think what really strikes me when I'm doing rapid response and hearing your story of that is like, how do I say this? Your situation happened at a daycare. Um, like if anything went down at my kid's daycare, I would lose my ever loving mind. I don't know if I would ever feel comfortable leaving him there again. And that's the reality of so
correct.
many people in the cities right now. And like essentially what rapid responders are doing, these observers, is what I've learned is a lot of the job is following up on suspicious vehicles, having eyes on, talking to the people who made the report or are feeling intimidated, and reassuring them like, hey, we're here, the community's here for you. That's the job of the police.
Yeah,
That's what we pay law enforcement for, is community protection. And the
and
fact
it's
that
also
they
the biggest part of their budget of the entire town.
yes. Yep. And that they're just so like, oh, hands off, because it's ICE. And I think something that we've all been worried about from the beginning of these ICE operations is like, well, what about people who are pretending to be ICE and take
Right.
advantage of that situation and harm people because of that? Because in our state, we had someone impersonate law enforcement and assassinate our lawmakers. So an
Bingo.
attempt to assassinate another. And so whenever I'm out, like a couple of weeks ago in Woodbury, there was a report of a few suspicious vehicles near one of the Mexican restaurants. And I was like 5 minutes away. So I'm like, "Psh, I'm here." So I go there, and the vehicles they described were gone by the time I got there. I sat in the parking lot a little bit and just kind of watched out for anything else that was noticeable. And whoever had notified us about those suspicious vehicles had called the restaurant and let them know that's what was seen and just a heads up. And so whenever I'm at like a restaurant following up on a lead, I always go in and order something. And then I talked to the person who was there and was like, oh, I'm here part of the community. I heard that you got a call about this. Like I'm just keeping eyes on it for a little bit and know that you have a lot of people here who are looking out for you and supporting you. And so just call Monarca if there's anything that's concerning, and people will be here. And they were so grateful for that. They've always, like, the people I've talked to have just been like overwhelmingly thankful for the community's response. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I covered her face. But but yeah, and it was like just like a, little old lady. She wasn't that old. I mean, I don't know, maybe like 60 or something like that. And you could see, what is that, like a Texas plate probably?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
God
that's the
damn.
car. So the car was left there. And obviously so was the kid. The kid
So was the
was
kid.
dropped off. And honestly, thinking back to the situation, I didn't think about it until after I left. And I go, wait a second. Was that one of
Yeah.
someone who just dropped off a kid? And she was like, yeah. So I didn't
Oh,
even process that at the time.
right.
She sent me all this after.
Yeah, so something this made me think of is when those ICE agents were telling me, like how terrible I am, and they picked up all these child molesters, and if I cared about children, I should support them. Look at this. They picked up the grown up of a child at a daycare. Like, were kids outside playing and witnessing this shit? What happened to that child who was left at daycare without their person? What about the trauma of these children whose homes are being broken into and their family members violently arrested in front of them? Like, that is insane. Or the children themselves who are being deported and their classmates who are left behind, like, where's Liam? Like, that violence towards children in our state is something that, like, I don't know. I don't have words, but it just made me think about how ridiculous those ICE agents sounded talking about, picking up all of their pedophiles, child molesters. And it's like, do you see what you're doing to children in our community? Like, it's
I
just
mean,
totally
and
despicable.
that's one angle of it. I would say the other angle of it is the fact that they are literally the private army of the pedophile, and
Of the
like
yes.
the most prolific pedophile ring in the world
Mhm.
history is, I think, all the people within the cabinet and various places of power throughout the entire world are all associated in this.
Mhm. Right.
You are all openly fighting on behalf of them, and yet we're the pedophile protectors is
Right.
just a chef's kiss. I mean, what the
Totally.
fuck?
Yeah.
I I that was to me the rage, I think, that I immediately felt was just like, what in the fuck are you talking about?
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know. That to me is it's just astounding. It's just absolutely
Yeah.
astounding.
Yeah. And in that light, I think it's worth noting that there's duality, right? Like, both things can be true at the same time. Like, there can be people who have committed horrible sex crimes and against children who should be prosecuted for that. Abhorrent if they are here, if they're here illegally and they commit crimes, then, like, yeah, something should be done, just like any criminal in our country, right? And so this sense of, like, you support all of that if you don't agree with what we're doing at ICE. And something that exemplifies that is I was doing a rapid response to a home that had an address that had been targeted, and I actually sat there for quite a while after ICE had been observed there, and then they left. And someone posted in the chat, "Hey, just throwing it out there that the person who lives at this address was convicted of sexual assault. And here's a link to his, like, legal record, just in case you feel like you need to, it's not within your conscience to be protecting this person or looking out for them." And someone responded, "That might be the case, but I still, like, am completely against ICE terrorizing him and his family because of it," or whatever. I feel like I'm not giving it justice, but I felt like that was and that goes back to, like, okay, if they have a target, then get a warrant and, like, come get the person. But otherwise, it just feels like a game, right? It feels
Yeah.
like intimidation and terrorizing people because they can.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, exactly as you said. I actually, I've spent my fair amount of time at Whipple. Well,
Mhm.
they've been operating out of there for like 20 years now. And a lot of people will say that, oh, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the difference is that in previous times, like you said, if there is an actual something there, they will use their legal means to do it the proper way and would do it. And, I could have my disagreements on policy of immigration and things like that. Those are all fair points to have. So, and how that, maybe I disagree on who they decide to enforce on or whatever, but
Yeah.
if the law is the law and that's the case, okay. But also, the law should be upheld on how they do that and actually
Mhm.
operate and, so I don't know. Obviously, that's not the case now. So,
Right.
yeah, there's a major difference and things have changed drastically.
Totally. I was listening to, think, or reading an article or listening to a podcast talking about the training aspect of ICE, which we talked about earlier. It was someone was going through the training exercises that they do, just these like different scenarios about detaining people and whatnot. And these people who they were training kept breaking the law when they were, they were not running the scenario correctly. They were not respecting the rights of the person. And when they were called out on it, they're like, "Oh, well, this is what we see them doing in Minnesota." Oh,
Yeah. I actually, that's the
is
ICE
that the one you were
whistleblower.
referencing? Yes. Yeah.
That's the ICE whistleblower, Ryan something.
Yeah.
God, I want to get a hold of that guy.
Yeah. That
Really,
testimony that yeah.
really want to get a hold of that guy. We should pull that one up. That would be interesting. I do want to show one thing though. I kind of zoomed on on this on purpose, but give me 1 second here.
Is the dog too distracting? He's like
No,
my
don't
emotional
worry.
support.
Do not give a shit about the dog. I'm sure everybody loves the dog.
He's the best.
So imagine, when you think about, oh, we're protecting the child molesters or some shit. What do you feel like when you see blacked out vans hanging out in parks?
In a playground. Jesus Christ.
This is Woodbury. This is Woodbury.
No, my God.
So, and I took this picture. What does that make you feel? I mean, first of all, as a parent, obviously I'm not worried for my kids on the immigration aspect of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
if it's but who knows? When we talked about the
Right.
impersonators and all those things,
Mhm.
now we've basically given carte blanche to anybody who wants to be suspicious as suspicious as they want now. Go black your plates out, go do whatever the hell you want. We call the cops, they are not doing a damn thing. It's almost like,
Yeah.
it's like and the cops, it's got to be great because it's like, well, now we don't have, how many of their calls do they just get to be like, we're not doing shit? Even
Right.
in years past, they probably would have done something, but now because of
Right.
this, they're just like, whatever.
Can't do anything. Maybe you shouldn't go to that park if you know that ICE is going to park there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this goes against so much of this goes against everything that we've ever been taught about safety. I think in our generation and what we're trying to teach our kids, um, I honestly have no words. Like that, this
But
is just,
go on. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just going to say that this is just allowed, accepted as like, this is how it is.